Hello and welcome to Yummy BSB with me, Chef Peter Soulsby. Today we're going to make something very British and very traditional. We're going to make some scones. First of all, let's go through the ingredients and the equipment we will need today. I have 225 grams of self-raising flour. I have 50 grams of grated cheese, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 50 grams of butter at room temperature, 1 egg, and some milk. Other ingredients, I've just got my salt and pepper here to season the scones. And I've also just got a little bit of extra flour just for dusting my baking tray and rolling out the scones. So the equipment we will need today, we have a mixing bowl, a rolling pin, our shape cutters, our pastry brush, some scales, our measuring jug, and I've just got a tablespoon and a teaspoon. Step 1, preheat your oven at 200 degrees Celsius. Really important before we do anything, we need to put our apron on and we need to wash our hands with soap. Step 2, we're going to take our mixing bowl, 225 grams of self-raising flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and it's really important we just season our flour with a pinch of salt and just a little bit of black pepper. Black pepper and cheese go really well together. Step 3, we're going to do something called the rubbing in method. The rubbing in method is a popular cake making method. It's used for things like pastry and also shortbread. All I'm going to do is take my butter, which is at room temperature, and I've cubed it. I'm just going to pop it in to my flour and baking powder. Now all the rubbing in method is where we're going to rub the butter into the flour using the tips of our fingers. So in we go. Lift the butter and flour onto your hands and just rub. Again, lift the butter and flour into your hands and we're just going to rub it in. I'm going to keep going, and eventually, once all the butter is rubbed into the flour, it will look like breadcrumbs. Keep turning the bowl as you do this. Make sure you get all the butter rubbed in. So once you've been rubbing your flour and butter together for a few minutes, you'll notice it starts to look like breadcrumbs. To make sure you've got no big lumps of butter left, all we're going to do is give our bowl a little shake and all the lumps of butter will just come to the top like that. And as you see, we have breadcrumbs. Step 4, all we're going to do is get our grated cheese and just pop it into our bowl. So all you do, once you put the cheese in your bowl, we're just going to give it a little mix with our hands into your breadcrumbs so it gets really well mixed in. Step 5, you need your measuring jug and your egg and also your milk. And we're going to create a wet mix to turn our breadcrumbs into the scone dough. Crack your egg into your jug. Really important, you put your eggshells straight in the bin. And also, if you've touched raw egg, it's really important that we wash our hands again. Once we've cracked our egg in our measuring jug, we need to make it up to 150 mils of liquid using our milk. Once you've added your milk to your egg, all we're going to do is take our jug and just give it a really quick whisk up, just to combine the two ingredients. Perfect. Step 6. It's now time to turn our breadcrumb mix into our scone dough using our egg and milk mixture. Really simple. We're just going to add into the bowl. All of it goes in. Now we're going to stir this to form a dough. Don't put your hands in it at this stage. We're just going to use a spoon, get right to the bottom of the bowl and give it a really good stir to combine all the ingredients together. And you will see a dough starting to form. All of those breadcrumbs, which we had a minute ago, are starting to stick together in big clumps. To know if you've got enough liquid in here, you want to clean the bowl of all these little bits of breadcrumbs. And the 150 ml of milk should be perfect. If for whatever reason it's not all sticking together, you can just add a little bit more milk if you need it. Once you've got a clump of dough like that together, this is the point where we get our hands in and bring it into a dough. So just clean your spoon. Make sure you've got clean hands and just bring the dough into a ball. It should be a little bit sticky. If it's really dry, the scones won't roll and they'll crack as they bake. So make sure it's really sticky, or we say tacky. Step 7, we're going to take our flour and we're just going to sprinkle it on our clean surface. Not too much. If you put too much down, you will dry your dough out. Now, we'll just get our dough and tip it out onto our floured surface. And very gently, we're just going to give this a roll around and just a little knead. The less you handle a scone mix, the better. If you handle it too much, we overactivate something called gluten and it becomes really cracky and it won't form your scones. So just give it a little knead, then make it into a ball. Step 8, we're going to take our rolling pin, just a little bit of flour on your rolling pin to stop it sticking. Then we're going to roll out our scone dough, so it's about 1 centimetre thick. Tips for when you're rolling: be very gentle and roll right across the surface. Don't roll it in one little area, you want to push right across. Keep rolling and turn your dough every couple of rolls. Once your dough is 1 centimetre thick, Step 9, I've got my baking tray. On my baking tray, I've just got some grease-proof paper to stop it sticking. Just to make sure it doesn't stick at all, I'm just going to take my flour again and just a tiny bit just on the grease-proof paper. Taking your cutter, start on the outside of your scone mix, press, turn, and pop onto your baking tray. And again, press, turn, pop onto your baking tray. If we've got any dough left over, what we're going to do, get it in our hands, just give it a little knead, pop it down on the workbench and just give it a little pat out. Get your cutter and we'll get one more out of there so nothing goes to waste. And there we have our 12 scones on our baking tray. Step 10. I've got my scones on my tray, I've got my pastry brush And I've just got a little bit of leftover milk, and we're just going to brush the tops of our scones. So when we put them in the oven, they come out golden brown on the top. Very simple. Not too much though. Step 11. Now it's time to put our scones in our preheated oven. When using an oven, it's really important that we use oven gloves. It stops us from burning our hands. After 10 minutes, your scones should be ready to bring out the oven. Let's get them out. We're looking for them to be golden brown and just risen slightly. Our scones have cooled down, we're ready to eat. I've simply served them buttered with a rocket salad. Enjoy.